Good afternoon, Trump's family. Welcome back to my channel. Have a good day and God bless you. Let's get into the news. Huge day, very important day. Adam Laxalt has increased his lead, which is fantastic. Adam Laxalt is on his way to winning Nevada. He is essentially predicted he's going to win. He's declared victory. And also, the belief that all the everything remaining points to Adam Laxalt winning Nevada. So that's according to him. And if you look at his Twitter account, we'll get there, and he's very, very confident Blake Masters and Kari Lake have already predicted victory. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. You got Adam Laxalt winning Nevada. You have a runoff in Georgia. We've won the Senate. We already won the House. I have a very important short on why Republicans should have thank God for Donald Trump. Okay, Republicans should thank God for Donald Trump. And it's very important. And it's a montage of really wonderful. Apparently Republicans who could have done better for this party. I'm not a part of the Republican Party. I'm not a part of the Democratic Party. I'm an independent. I like Donald Trump's foreign policy and economic policy, which is infinitely better than what we see now. Democrats voted for a deceased person also in Pennsylvania. Look it up. So the fact that they did better than expected doesn't mean anything. They view this to be a religion. Okay. Only Donald Trump could have revitalized, revamped, transformed the Republican Party. Watch that short. Republicans should thank God for Donald Trump. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, please share that with everyone that you know. Republicans should thank God for Donald Trump. Let's get to Adam Laxalt. He just tweeted out the following, and I don't have Twitter, but you can obviously just look at it on Twitter. Last night it went exactly as we anticipated. We added 3,000 from the rurals and more are coming. She added some Clark County mail. We expect the remaining mail universe to fall well below the percentages she needs to catch us. No status change. And prior to that, of the 84,000 votes left to count in Clark County, Cortez Masto needs to win 63% of them and she would still lose. Okay, that doesn't even take into account the gains we will make from the rural counties. The rural counties. So apparently, and you see this, like you can just type in search terms on Twitter again. I do not have Twitter. If you see anyone impersonating me, obviously now thank God it's like a completely against Twitter policies, please report them. But if you type in search terms and just see what people are saying about Adam Laxalt, you'll have some journalists saying, oh yeah, he's not gonna when he increased his lead. Adam Laxalt increased his lead from last night. Okay, and they're almost done counting. Now Blake Masters has retweeted or tweeted with the remaining ballots. Outstanding. We are confident we will win. Okay, so he retweeted Blake Masters for US Senate Press, and he just with the remaining we are confident we will win, and then Kari Lake. Okay, stated I feel 100% certain I'm going to win. And she stated numerous times, I talked about that last night, she declared victory essentially. And now she's just tweeting like constantly, hey, we're going to win, massive win. We are going to win. So she is definitely preparing for victory and predicting victory and even declaring victory in one of the tweets. I'm trying to look at the tweet right here. Okay. So one of them says we'll win big. And so I talked about this last night, and I talked about this last night in the segment I did last night, so you can ask, should we see that tweet? But I can't find the right now. You can see that tweet on the screen in the segment last night. But ladies and gentlemen, this is absolutely huge. Okay. Oh, wow. We are going to win big, stay tuned. Arizona, you can actually see that tweet last night on the segment prior this one, people. Trump was 292,119 and 16 losses the other day, in terms of PRI, in terms of endorsements. So I mean, it's like, what do you want? Like, who do you think would have? Who do you think would have done better? So I respect the Daily Wire? And I say that within the short, but I want to address, and I could have there's a last part of the short where I talk about DeSantis, and I liked DeSantis, but I didn't add the dossier part or loyalists within the intel community part, because it has to be within a minute. But do you think that DeSantis could have withstood a DeSantis dossier? And, only 1,000s and 1,000s of articles every single day from American media, or every single month I should say, or week from American media, condemning him pontificating, judging DeSantis doesn't have the national obsession like the media focus that Trump has had to endure. Okay. When they go after Trump, for example, the Mar-a-Lago nonsense where they went and investigated, it takes a second for an informant to tell the Federal Bureau of Investigation that DeSantis is up to something criminal and Vito need to confirm. They'll get that search warrant and a judge will just say, well, the Federal Bureau of Investigation is not going to lie to me about DeSantis, there's an informant, and then there goes the Fourth Amendment just erased. It's very easy to deceive a judge when it comes to Trump, or any other Trump Republican that they want to go after. Just ask Carter Page. Just ask Kevin Clients meant the Federal Bureau of Investigation attorney that falsified records to deceive a judge. Okay. And he pled guilty to that in the Durham probe. So it's not difficult. And the question is with a media obsession, like I said last night, it is a template, people. It's a rubric. It's a roadmap. It's not the way that Trump has been treated by press and media. You can say, well, he provokes people. That's true, but it's still a game plan that they have towards any Republican now, perhaps, initially started as something towards Trump. But now Democrats have learned they can even elect mashed potato brains 2.0. They connect? Well, they can get somebody into the senator in Pennsylvania, who sounds like Yoda if Yoda was an alcoholic. So anything's possible. They said they voted for a deceased person. Look it up. I'll do a segment on that. I'll probably do a segment on that this evening where you can actually see the article behind me. But it's a religion for Democrats. The economy stinks. Real wages are down 8.5%. We're going into a massive recession. Don't worry. Like the market is going up just to come cratering down. Okay. The stock market is going to continue to crash for the next year. And I talked about that, and I predicted that in 2021 market goes up 1,000 points. Okay, go and look at Nouriel Roubini, Michael Burry, Jeremy Grantham, all these billionaires saying okay, this guy is gonna fall next year. But again, the economy with 8.5% real wages down, inflation, 8 to 9% inflation at 20% or more in terms of energy, rent, food, okay? Different food items are not just 8 to 9%, there are a lot higher in terms of inflation. And so what you need to live is more expensive today than ever or than in recent memory. And you have 40-year highs in inflation, and you have a terrible energy policy, and you have an economy in freefall. Stock market can go up and down. It's going to only go up to crash again. Layoffs are going to become a lot more frequent and the unemployment rate will go up. But people voted for this because it's a religion. Do you understand? And you're talking about a possible nuclear confrontation in Europe, but it's a religion. Do you understand? And so only Trump, he's not perfect, but nobody is. And he's a lot better for the Republican Party than any other conservative or Republican there. And then, some significant news, I think without a doubt the single most frustrating aspect about these midterms is how there we were on election day, right? That's what it's always been called, election day, not election month, waiting into the wee hours the night to find out the results from a number of races we care about. And those results never came in. It didn't matter how late you stayed up. We wake up the next morning, only to find race after race after race, particularly in the House, remaining undecided because apparently the people who count the votes count at a speed that would make a snail fall asleep. This, unfortunately, in the era of mail-in ballots, at least when it comes to some states, is the new normal. But that said, here we are 2 days later, and we are finally starting to see those results come in, and it's looking very, very good for the GOP. As of yesterday, the Republicans have flipped another 5 seats in the House, totaling thus far a 16-seat gain in the New York district for congressional race. Republican Anthony Zito was declared the winner over his opponent, Laura Gillen. In Michigan, Republican John James was officially declared the winner in the hotly contested race for their newly created 10th district. In Iowa's 3rd congressional district, Republican Zach Nguyen has been projected the winner, flipping that seat, and is part of the Florida red wave who was announced last night that Anna Paulina Luna, a 33-year-old Air Force veteran, officially flipped Florida's 13th congressional district. Finally, yesterday, it was officially announced that Republican Derek Van Order flipped Wisconsin's 3rd congressional district, making Van Orden the very first Republican to win that seat in nearly 30 years. So altogether, we're looking at a net pickup thus far of 16 seats. Not bad. Not bad at all. And there's still plenty more races to be called, as Dick Morris noted yesterday. We have to remember that this is the second election in a row where Democrats have lost seats in the House. They stormed into power back in 2018, picking up 41 seats, but they lost 15 seats in 2020. And now they've lost at this point 16 in 2022. So thus far, that's a net gain of 31 GOP seats over the course of these two elections, which is good news indeed. Again, suggesting a multi-year trajectory against the Democrats. By the way, news is coming out from Arizona. Kari Lake is poised to take the lead from Katie Hobbs today again in an utterly maddening third world election system. Arizona election officials are slowly counting through a batch of about 400,000 votes, the vast majority of which are election day votes, which are thus far overwhelmingly favoring Kari. So the pollster Rich Barris is predicting that Kari should win by around a 3% margin, and that will hopefully be enough to help bring Black Masters over the finish line as well. We'll see on that. Obviously no promises there, but things certainly look very, very good for Kari. Over in Nevada, the Republican Anna Laxa continues to hold on to his lead over the Democratic incumbent, Catherine Cortez Masto. But, my only concern, I gotta tell you what Nevada is, they just keep finding votes. In other words, unlike Arizona, votes keep coming in. And this is where the Republican leadership is such an abject failure. They did absolutely nothing to counter these kinds of shenanigans. So we'll see. Harry Reid turned Nevada into quite the Democratic machine, particularly Clark County. So hopefully Laxalt is gonna pull this off. Now, there are some astonishing election results coming out of all places, New York. That's right. Republicans have won 10 key races throughout the state, netting for new pickups, including the seat held by Democrat and chairman of the House Democrats campaign arm Sean Patrick Maloney. He's the first chairman of the Democrats campaign arm to lose his own House seat in 42 years. It was a real shocker, and look at what happened in Long Island for the very first time in decades. All four of Long Island's congressional representatives are now Republicans. The GOP swept all four races, flipping their to blue seat red. It was an incredible red wave in New York. Lee Zeldin, God bless that guy, did better than any Republican gubernatorial candidate in decades since George Pataki himself ended up becoming a presidential contender. As you see, I think in many respects, we were robbed the spectacle enjoyment of the midterm election. I mean, I could still remember going all the way back to 1994, the night of the Gingrich Revolution. And I remember clear as day, seeing Dan Rather's panic face when he looked into the camera and stated in a jittery voice, "We've just got confirmation that the Republicans are poised to take the House. The Republicans are poised to take the House now." That announcement was around 10 or 10:30 at night. We knew back in the good old days when we could, count a few 100,000 ballots within hours. We knew the result of an election within hours, the polls closing. And that's what made the spectacle of election so alluring for so many of us. What these mail-in elections are doing is they're robbing us of that. And then yes, of course, add to that the utter and total frustrating embarrassment of the John Fetterman fiasco, of which the Republican establishment, they totally blew Pennsylvania. Yeah, I had that kind of frustration in the mix. It just made these midterms confusing, confounding, and in the end, utterly disappointing. And now that all the dust of that disappointment is starting to clear, we are beginning to see the makings of a pretty impressive midterm, especially when you combine the congressional gains with the gains we made in 2020. As of right now, Tom Bevan of Real Clear Politics, he's reporting that Republicans are maintaining a 6 million vote lead in the House races. The Cook Political Report has confirmed that it was indeed a Republican +6 election day turnout, Republican +6, that exceeds even what we were predicting here. We predicted +4 following a bipartisan projection analysis. But here's the kicker. While the Republican +6 equate into utterly massive blowouts in states like North Carolina and Florida, and Texas, and Kentucky and Oklahoma, it did not translate into comparable blowouts in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. I mean, we're still waiting, of course, on the Pony Express to arrive and the results from Arizona and Nevada. So what gives, what accounts for these discrepant results? Is it because it's Trump? No, it's because of the GOP establishment, McConnell, McCarthy, McDaniel. They failed to come up with an effective strategy to counter the mass mail-in ballot Democrat initiatives specific to those states. In other words, that +6 Republican turnout crushed it in states that have cracked down on mail-in ballots, while it hit a wall in states that continued 2020 election norms. That is what we're going to have to figure out on how to counter in the next election, because if we do, we may finally see that red tsunami we've all been waiting for. Thank you very much. WWG1WGA. Give me your thoughts below and